How about now? How about now? Yes. Hello, can you hear me, guys? 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're off, I think. Shh. Pardon the strange interlude. Everybody else on the alternative platforms, I had to connect my YouTube. Shh. Go away, Jesse. You're quiet. You're too loud. Yeah. Okay. Lord have mercy. It's 9:04 a.m. U.S. Pacific Standard Time here in Los Angeles. President's Day, Monday, Washington's birthday, February 19th, AD 2024. I have Bigg Bump with me. It took forever to... Can you unmute him? Hey, Bigg Bump, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Fine.
Thank you for having me.
So we just lost 3 minutes of the Hake report because I did not connect... Or I connected YouTube, but maybe it got thrown off because I changed the title to say Bigg Bump is joining me.
Gotcha.
So, what are we going to be covering today?
Wanted to talk about Trump's civil suit, the lawsuit, the $350 million. Wanted to talk about, expound on the last time I was here about the whites, digressing from America's workforce type things, where now they're
their army recruits went down. We mentioned last time.
So a couple of days after that, I found an article, a story on what's called quiet quitting.
Okay.
So
yeah.
In the same realm. Also,
I've heard of quiet quitting. Yeah, I didn't know that whites were doing that.
Right.
Even I see it as somewhat of degeneracy, but.
Gotcha. Yeah. It can seem
a
that
weakness
way for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I came across as Samuel L. Jackson, the actor, a little.
Black.
Yeah, a little something about him.
He did the Shaft remake, which I didn't see.
If I seen it, I may have seen just a little bit. I don't think I cared for it.
Right.
And then of course, it's kind of a bigger story as well. Was Susan Wojcicki, the CEO of YouTube, that her son passed away at Berkeley.
Yeah. She was the woman, not Christian woman,
right,
in charge of YouTube.
Yeah.
Terrible, this woman. So, yeah, that's happening a lot to these. It's happening a lot, like, across the board to whites. Mm-hmm. And she's not a normal white, right? And isn't she, like, Jewish or something?
Something. I know her family's originally from Poland.
Oh, okay. So she could be like a Polish Jew.
Yeah.
For some reason, I think of her as that. I don't think of her as, like, Christian.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Terrible. All right. Well, anyway, guys, all that and your calls, some of you guys are already on hold, and I'm remiss in not reading all the super chats. If I don't get to them today from last week, I will get to them tomorrow, but we're going to try to get to everything. So let's get right on with the show.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake report. The Hake report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake report. The Hake report. La la la.
Hey guys!
Oh, it's the Hake report. The Hake report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake report. The Hake report. La la la.
So, how you guys doing? I'm fine. I am wearing so Bigg Bump, can you scoot over that way and then move the mic that way as well a little bit more, and then sit on one or two of those things, maybe both of them, so that you're at the same level height as me. That way you don't have to crop.
Is that better?
Yeah. Well, a little bit. Sit on that one as well if you can, if you don't mind. We're getting him in position. Complicated business, folks. Oh man, this is terrible. I'm looking at the live audio feed of the split screen. Oh no. I'm looking at the live audio feed of the YouTube, the IG, and it's doing that. That's okay. What's up, guys? What's up? I wish you well. 11. That's funny. I just showed my screen to the IG chat. Nice. How you been, Bigg Bump?
All is well. I'm doing well, man. Thanks for asking.
Bigg Bump, BIGGBUMP. He's on the platforms BIGG_BUMP, as well as, oh, I'm here in the background of the beach scene. What else? On YouTube, BIGGBUMP, no underscore.
Right. Twitter with the underscore. Instagram with the underscore.
Yeah.
I haven't uploaded to Rumble or anything, but it's with the underscore BIGG_BUMP.
Yeah.
SoundCloud BIGGBUMP or space BUMP. Yeah. If you put in BIGGBUMP, I should pop up.
Nice. Well, thanks for joining me, man.
Thank you.
Happy President's Day. Happy Washington's
President's
birthday.
Day.
Whatever we're supposed to call it.
Right.
Before we get into your topics, I'd like to get to a call. CJ in Texas is on the line here. CJ, thank you for calling and holding, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well, and it's always a pleasure to be on a Bigg Bump episode.
Oh, nice.
Right on.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate listening to an articulate black man not go, you know what I'm saying, all
Cool.
the time.
Right on.
I've talked to you a few times
Yeah.
before, and
Yeah.
you have a really good thought process going on inside that tinker of yours, man.
Cool. Right on. And let me say this. I enjoy your calls as well. When I hear you, I'm like, oh man, I like that topic. How you bring things to the table also, man.
Oh, I'm honored that you even recognize who I am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's why I brought you on, because I know that you guys are somewhat familiar with each other.
Yeah, I wanted to it's not really on topic, I guess, but I wanted to talk to you about the religious atheists and get your guys' opinion on this. So
Okay.
I feel like I always go back to this point, right? There's these idiots that say they don't believe in God because there's no proof of his existence.
Yeah.
So again, physics is at the point of saying, well, there's this Big Bang. Well, what caused the Big Bang? And they're like, nothing. And they're like, you have to understand that nothing caused the Big Bang.
So maybe
It's
Lin Yan Chin is
definition-
right. Lin Yan Chin has told me God is 0. I called him 1, but Lin Yan Chin differed with me.
Yeah, I'm definitely not saying that these people are right.
Okay.
I'm actually about ready to make fun of them.
Okay,
Hold
let's
on.
do it.
So these scientifically religious people, right? They're atheists. They don't believe in God, but they definitely have a religion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And their religion is their atheism. And it's all structured based upon belief, assumptions, and faith, right? They believe and have faith that nothing created everything.
Yeah.
That's what caused the Big Bang, nothing, right? Now, nothing by definition is that which cannot be seen, touched, felt, measured, or exist.
Yeah.
Right, but they don't believe in God because God can't be seen, touched, felt, measured.
Whoa.
Therefore, he doesn't exist, right?
Yeah.
Right, which is exactly what they believe created everything, was something that doesn't exist. Nothing. The definition of nothing is something that doesn't exist, right?
That's poetic.
Then you ask an atheist, well, what happens to your consciousness when you die? And they're like, well, do you believe it just turns into nothing? They're like, yeah. Sure, yeah, I believe when you die, your consciousness turns into nothing. Like, so when you die, you become like a god. You become like your creator.
Right.
You become nothing, which is the force that created everything.
That's really interesting.
That's what happens when you die. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, congratulations. Congratulations, you're a Christian. Congratulations. I don't know. I just wanted to get your thoughts on it.
It's cool. I really like it, man. It's baffling, mind-boggling, the nature of reality and what the dumb, blind, barking up the wrong tree assumptions that people have about God and why they so-called accept him, so they think, or reject him, so they think.
Well, yeah, people will always be like, oh, you're trying to be an intellectual, or you think you're trying to be smart or something, when you just try to talk to them about, like, well, what does it mean to exist? What does it mean? What does the word exist mean? Yeah. Right? Like, do ideas exist? Well, they're not measurable. You can't touch them. You can't feel them. But are they even a thing? Like, what does it mean to be a thing? What does it mean to be an object, right? Like, and they're like, well, you're getting all, so it's like, well, these things matter, because if you're going to be an atheist and say you don't believe in things that can't be felt, touched, measured, right? But then you totally accept, like, ideas, right, as something, right? Or, like, I don't know. What do you think, Bigg Bump?
For one, I do believe that that science is a religion. They make it a religion. I agree with you 100% on that. And they worship it. It's interesting what you're saying, because, like you're saying, that they say it's nothing. There's no thing is God. But in the Big Bang, they believe that it came from nothing. That I never thought of it specifically that way, but that's really something.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if we just replace the word God and Lord in the Bible with the word nothing, we got all of them. They're one of us now, right? Like, in the beginning there was nothing, and then nothing created everything. And they're like, dude, that's what we believe.
Right.
And then nothing saved you from eternal damnation, and nothing ever got crucified on the cross, and it's because of nothing that you're going to be saved. And they're just like, dude, I'm so on board. Like, all we got to do is replace God with the name. We'll just rename him, give him the name Nothing, right? And then we got all these guys.
It's interesting too, because you're supposed to worship God and nothing else and no one else. You're not supposed to seek after feeling peace or pleasure or created things and all that stuff. And that's God. Yeah. I mean, that's when you get rid of those things, all you have left is God, I guess.
Yeah, that thing that can't be, seen, touched, felt, or measured, but created everything. Yeah, let's just call it nothing, right? And then we don't have to have a big problem between atheists and theists anymore.
That's cool, man. I appreciate it, CJ. Good to hear from you, man.
Good talking
to you. I'm gonna listen to the rest of your show on the boob tube.
Sounds good, man.
Oh, hey, I can't end this without shout out to all of the chat tards.
Indeed.
Keeping it low IQ.
Oh yes. The way I like it.
Stupid. All right. Peace
Take care,
out.
man. Bye. CJ from Texas.
Nice. Yeah.
So let's do this. Let's dive in and try to get through all these. Bigg Bump. Bigg Bump on Gab and Truth Social. Bigg Bump on Rumble. Bigg Bump on IG, Instagram, Twitter, X, YouTube, SoundCloud. Susan Wojcicki. This is the one that I want to get to.
Yeah.
First.
Cool.
Her son died. You guys remember Susan Wojcicki? Am I pronouncing her name right? I used to call it Wozniak. Like, there's no Z. There's no
Apple,
N.
I think I seen two different ways of pronouncing it. There's Woo and Whoa. Wojcicki.
Okay.
Wojcicki.
Okay.
Because I've only seen the name, but I don't think I ever got it right myself. Yeah.
She was the CEO of YouTube, and she was kind of in charge of censoring all of us.
Yeah.
Right? Something like that?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
New York Post headline: Son of YouTube CEO, former YouTube CEO, she stepped down recently.
Yeah.
Susan Wojcicki found dead in UC Berkeley dorm, per school officials. I was just up there touring the campus over the holiday. There he is. What a little Chad.
All right.
A young 19. Was he 19?
He was 19.
And he made it to Berkeley.
Yeah, I get to he was studying mathematics or something like that. That's his father on the right.
The father looks nice. He looks nice.
He's not a Christian.
Okay.
Troper, I think it's his
Troper
name.
is the last name.
Yeah.
I wonder what his last name. Marco Troper.
Marco Troper.
Son of
Dennis.
former YouTube's Dennis.
That-
David Troper.
David or Dennis? Okay, I thought it was Dennis.
David is a nice Jewish name. Son of Judah. Why did Susan keep her Wojcicki name? Feminist, not Christian. Man, we're looking at a beach picture of the family, I guess. Or they actually made 5 children.
They had
I
5,
think.
yeah.
I wonder where this guy is in the lineup.
When I was reading through, I didn't see specifically where
Me
he was
neither.
at. But I think he could be the first. It seems he could be the first.
Wow. So she was a so-called CEO of a major Google-owned YouTube company during most of his childhood,
Yes. Yeah.
and his younger siblings, perhaps, if he
Yeah.
has younger siblings. What a mess.
Yeah, I know she brought the YouTube idea to the table when she saw it. I guess she was
She was
As
with
she
that
really
company
liked
for
it.
25 years, right?
with who?
With some company.
I think it was AdSense or something. What I read, I think
Oh.
I've seen some company that she was with, and she saw YouTube and she thought it would be the next big thing,
Yeah.
and they went ahead and bought it for I think it was a 1.5 billion. I think at the time.
Google
and-
bought them? Or who? Oh, Google
I think-
AdSense. So she was in charge of
Yeah,
AdSense.
yeah.
Okay.
And
Wow.
just
So
took
she's
it
a
over, yeah.
visionary.
yeah, she is. Yeah.
'Cause-
I'll give her that. Yes.
Because everybody loved YouTube.
Right. Yeah.
But they were around for a while before
Before.
Google bought
yeah.
them.
Yeah.
So of course, it doesn't take much of a visionary to see that YouTube is worth something. Because YouTube was worth something before Google bought them.
Yeah. Yeah.
People loved YouTube.
Really.
I remember.
I
The early
enjoyed
mid
YouTube a lot.
2000s?
Yeah. I really enjoyed YouTube back
Yeah.
then. Yeah. It was a cool platform. I mean, it's cool now, but
Right.
with anything you can use it for good or evil.
Yeah.
But
A lot of the most interesting stuff,
Yeah.
to steal a phrase from Styx Hexenhammer, 666,
Oh, right. Yeah, that guy. I like
who's
that
been
guy.
on the JLP show a
Yeah.
couple times, has been removed from YouTube.
Yeah.
Under her
Right.
so-called leadership.
yeah.
Well, I don't know if I blame her. It's the whole
her.
culture. The whole culture is of censorship, and she falls right in line.
Yeah,
It's not like
yeah.
she's a leader of censorship, really. She
just a pawn
She didn't
of it, yeah.
invent it.
Right. Right. Yeah. So, I seen it. I was like, whoa.
This headline, huh?
Yeah. And I was like, man, that's crazy. And then I started reading it, and then I just noticed that the grandmother, her mother, was like speaking up for it.
Yeah.
For him. I was like, maybe she took care of him. That's the reason why it happened the way it
Oh.
did. But she's pretty prominent up in that Bay Area also. She's
That's her.
Oh, you have her? Oh,
yeah,
cool.
that's the picture
Right
of the
on.
grandmother.
Okay. Yeah, she's like a
A fit grandma. Somewhat fit.
prestigious type intellectual educator.
Yeah. She wrote a book, I think, on parenting, by the way. Parenting successful people.
That sounds-
Because
I think-
her daughter's all successful.
Right. Yeah, and her other daughter is the 23andMe.
Oh, really?
That's her sister. That's
23andMe
sister.
steals your DNA, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Not steals.
they steal it. I'll take it a step further. Yeah. But yeah, that's her sister, and she's a mess too. I was reading up on her just to get a little insight on her. Like, she got married, divorced like a year later, had a kid, and so their whole family is a little.
So by
wonky.
successful, this woman, this grandma is talking about her daughter as being successful in terms of finance.
That's for
and
sure.
business, but
Yeah.
not in terms of
Morality,
necessarily
right. Yeah.
good families.
Yeah. Yeah.
This woman didn't even change her name, at least not publicly.
Right.
This is Susan Wojcicki, or sorry, ladies, who pay attention to people's names better than Hake.
Yeah.
Sitting on a stage, probably just talking about being the CEO of Google or
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah. And the one thing that another outside of the grandmother, when I read up more, and I was like, I think she was more like distance from the family. I know, of course, she was working, so she wasn't being a mother.
Right.
That she was like involved in family leave, gender discrimination, and then helping Syrian refugees, stuff like that. So not
that was her pursuit. The mother of
Susan,
of the young man who
who
died
that
in
was
his
like
dorm room.
her I guess what is it? What she wanted to do. I think for whatever word.
So she was a little activist.
Activist, yeah.
Paid family leave.
Gender discrimination.
I'm shaking my head.
And people across the world.
So taking care of the refugees, Syrian refugees?
Syrian refugees, yeah. The plight of Syrian refugees is what I remember. Yeah, but clearly she wasn't doing anything for her family.
Yeah.
And her husband, the Troper, he's like the director of Google's OS Wear, their operating system, the Wear everything Wear.
Oh.
Watches, the Vision.
Oh, Wear,
like
W-E-A-R.
W-E-A-R, yeah.
Okay.
So that's what he does.
So they're a Google family.
Yeah. I'm assuming that's how they came across each other initially.
How did the young man die?
The grandmother said the school agreed that it was a drug related.
Oh, like an overdose.
Yeah, so
maybe fentanyl. I was thinking fentanyl, but I have no idea.
Yeah, same thing. Same thing.
Some opioid. Cause that's what kills people. He was like a little athletic young man.
Like. Yeah.
Looking guy. 19-year-olds. In UC Berkeley, up in NorCal, near San Francisco, Oakland area. And he was always smiling, all bright looking.
Yeah. That's
white, somewhat, supposedly.
Yeah, he was
beady little eyes. No. Well, yes, but I disavow. I disavow noticing that. Yeah, I noticed that his grandmother, I was reading the article that you sent me. His grandmother was all putting this out there, a whole bunch of pictures.
Right.
She posted a Facebook photo or a post talking about this. I guess that's how the people found out about that. Yeah. Because they were investigating a death of a student on campus, and it was private, but this woman put that out there. Yeah. And it hadn't crossed my mind that, look, she put little baby pictures of him, little like toddler, 4-year-old, 3-year-old pictures of him, and then his more recent stuff.
Yeah, it's like she's proud of it, or she got something out of it.
It's not Esther Wojcicki. What'd you say? Wojcicki.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm saying a bad word.
Right.
She called him a beautiful human being, Marco.
And to add, that's not their original name. It's Americanized, I guess.
The whoosh was.
Yeah.
Even that's they call that Americanized.
Yeah. Man, where is it now? I had it. I guess it's a different spelling, maybe. Yeah, it's some other. It's definitely a whole different. Not totally different, but it is a different name. It's a different last name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was just a side note on that.
Jewish people and whites and Asians to an extent, Asians big time, focus on this worldly success stuff.
Yeah.
But they're spiritually dumb liberals. Mm-hmm. They're not happy. They're not wise. Right. They're blind as a bat. they're every bit as dumb as, like the low IQ victim people
Yeah.
in many ways. I
Right.
mean, they know how to live and be relatively okay neighbors and make their
Yeah.
communities nice
They try to
on
keep
the outside.
themselves kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't commit so many violent crimes.
Right.
But they're a mess.
Yeah.
And the Christians are like this too. I remember hearing about DC Talk, one of the guys from DC Talk. I don't know if you're familiar with DC Talk. It's
Maybe.
a Christian rap group from the 80s, 90s.
Oh, no.
And then they became more rock or whatever. And one of the guys, K Mac, whose son died of fentanyl or opioids? There was another. Anyway, I'm just hearing all these cases of Christians, famous, not famous. I know people whose children have, or not even that young, just my age, give or
Right,
take,
yeah.
or younger, dying from these opioids overdoses.
Yeah.
Not necessarily on purpose.
Right. Yeah. They're not. It's not on purpose at all. And it was one thing. Like yesterday, I was just scrolling on Instagram, and it just popped up like I guess it happened yesterday. Like there was some guy just on the street in Hollywood somewhere just slumped over. The cop was next to him with the and it was fentanyl related. And I just clicked it, and it so happened to keep going on, and I'm seeing all these different overdoses throughout this. It's like constant. They're showing multiple ones each, every day that they respond to. But it's out of control.
Sean says a lot of times they take cocaine or ecstasy, and it's laced with fentanyl. So ecstasy is that party raver drug, and cocaine is something that other people take, whites and blacks, depending on which type of cocaine it is. And they lace it with. Why would you lace it with fentanyl? It's because it doesn't seem. Is it cheap or something? Like, are they just trying to make it cheaper? But they kill their client, and then they don't have any more money.
Right.
The heck.
Yeah.
I guess there's a whole lot of consumers to kill.
I know for sure chasing a high. I know that from that first high is something.
Oh yeah.
That is unattainable.
You try to match it,
Yeah.
and you can't match it.
Right. So they're gonna try anything after that.
Yeah.
Different types and mixes and combinations, different things. Yeah.
So they may know what they're getting. They just don't know how dangerous it is.
Yeah. They ask for it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought it was snuck in, and they don't
Some
know what they're
maybe.
taking.
But like you said, why would your dealer sneak it in knowing that the
Right.
possibility of losing you as a client?
Yeah, unless he got it from somebody else who doesn't care about
True. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
the evil people don't really think that far ahead. Always, I guess.
Not always. Yeah.
And then there's some people who have a good immunity to it. Like Floyd, he overdosed and survived
Right, yeah.
once before, and he might have survived had it not been for those knees on his body pressuring him, maybe. So they claim.
Right.
Who knows? I'm just benefit of the doubt for people who build up an immunity to fentanyl powder or whatever that stuff is.
Yeah, but he was, he had it in the system still.
Yeah.
So.
But you're right. Families are not what they used to be.
No.
Not what they should be. Because I never took drugs, and I'm sort of more old school. And I don't know if you did, but
No.
it was not something that the good kids did. But
Right.
nowadays, the good kids are doing it.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. It amazes me the people that I hear that.
Yeah, business
take- yeah.
people. I was up with my buddy in Oakland, and he was saying, "Oh, these like business people or businessmen are
Right.
taking these
Yeah.
party drugs."
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. My dad works in that field, so I know.
Wow.
That what happens.
Yeah.
I know exactly what happens.
Such a shame.
Yeah.
It's affecting a whole lot of people.
It sure is. It definitely is. So,
What a mess.
Yeah. And that's just when like I said, that caught my eye.
Yeah.
And then going into it, detail of, of course, CEO got it. She's going to be away from the family, but even more so her outside activities, didn't seem to be on the family.
Right.
You know, just from this, from.
And the father doesn't. For one, just looking at him, he didn't look like the head of the
Right.
family.
Yeah. No, not at all.
He looked kind of beta.
Right.
If you can profile a beta just on their looks.
Right.
I mean, some of these guys are surprisingly strong personality, but it doesn't mean that he's not a beta.
Right.
You can be a beta with a strong personality.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow, what a mess.
Yeah. And there were some other little details that I seen also that were interesting too, with their family, the things they're involved in, the Jewish camps that they were involved in too. That it's like, wow.
Jewish camps?
Yeah.
Like
there's
kind of like Christian family camps, but Jewish?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Very accepting. Right?
Accepting, huh?
Yeah.
Open to everything.
Yeah.
I mean, if she's for the Syrian refugees, aren't the Syrians not necessarily friendly with Israel? So she might be one of those liberal, anti-Israel, or not anti-Zionist or whatever.
Maybe anti-Zionist
Or
more.
somewhat.
Yeah. Because at the same time, there are quite a few Syrian Christians, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
But maybe it is that she goes along with the anti-Zionist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems to be. I know a lot of you guys, relative conservative people, are anti-Zionist, but as you probably know, there's a whole lot of liberal, anti-Zionist Jewish people. If you want to call it that, they're just feeling sorry for all the victim people, like Palestinians and stuff, which is not the way to go. Feeling sorry.
Right. That doesn't help
That's not love.
at all.
Interesting, man.
Yeah.
It's a Chinese reparations for the opium wars, says Point Fire. Fentanyl is. Wow.
Oh.
Sounds like revenge. Let's move on. Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
I've never liked this guy. I've never really seen the draw of him, really. And part of it is, maybe I have, and I'm just resentful because I know he's kind of like a liberal white hater type of a guy.
Yeah.
And he seems like overhyped, and people are like enthralled with him almost just because he cusses. The
Right.
MFing blank on the MFing plane and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's not a bad actor. He's not bad,
Right.
but seems overhyped.
It-
He's relatively fit,
Yeah.
and he's in a lot of stuff. These big productions that aren't the greatest movies, in my opinion, but they make a lot of money, I guess.
Yeah. He's worked so much that he's grossed, I guess, the most out of anyone.
I've heard that.
Yeah, like over $4 billion.
I don't see the draw that much.
I see it, and I thought you were about to say it, that his character of the angry black man, or just the anger, people love that. Like,
Interesting.
I see that as him being into it.
He brings a little bit of like almost humor to it.
Yeah.
And he also projects some capability behind it. Like he's a skilled and competent in the characters that he presents.
Yeah. But and my point in this was he isn't acting. To me, this is not an act at all. That's
the angry
really,
black
the
man.
angry black man. That's not
cussing
an act.
all the time and all that.
Yeah,
that's really
him.
who he is, huh? He's being himself in every
definitely.
single time.
Every single time.
What was weird was seeing him in Star Wars. Star Wars, come on.
Right. Yeah.
I'm shaking my head.
And that's maybe the one time he wasn't angry because he had to play the Jedi role where.
Did they kill him?
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah. Poor thing. Yeah. Right.
Racist. So Samuel L. Jackson, this tall, relatively fit, getting older.
Yeah.
He's been around for decades.
Yeah.
Actor. And he's been into the black thing for a long time, huh?
Very long time.
What's this headline? Samuel L. Jackson. This is from a tip from Bigg Bump. WatchTheYard.com. Black Greekdom's digital yard show. Greekdom means black college fraternities. Greek.
sororities. Yeah.
Greek is another word for fraternities because they do alpha, beta, chi, or Chi.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Chi, Zeta, Phi, all that. Yeah.
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 Samuel L. Jackson was expelled from Morehouse College. That's a black college, right?
That's a black college in Atlanta.
In the 60s for Holding Martin Luther King Jr.'s father hostage. And there's a picture of him old and a picture of him with a tight afro, not that tight, in a suit. Wow. So he held MLK. What?
Yeah.
Everybody's done something to MLK,
To
and his
MLK.
blacks. MLK and his family, his mother. Somebody killed his mother, right? Somebody whom you showed to me.
Yeah,
a black Hebrew Israelite.
Yeah.
A flat earther, maybe.
Right.
A nerdy one.
A very nerdy guy.
Yeah.
He looked like a nerd to the fullest.
So this guy, look at him all skinny wearing a pro-black T-shirt. This is I don't know where Bigg Bump got this picture. A Hollywood Reporter?
Yeah, okay.
Website?
Yeah. So because this article, this was outside of it, Hollywood Reporter got it from Parade. That's where the original information came from, was the Parade magazine. Or Parade, that's a magazine, right? Or
or at least it's an online outlet nowadays.
Right,
Who knows?
Right. Yeah. So this one got me because I seen the Free Angela shirt on. That's what that is, Angela Davis.
Oh, Angela Davis. Is she the cop killer? Or she did something. She's like
Shakur, but she.
Oh,
I don't remember everything.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. I think she's supposed to be an author or something like that. Yeah.
Look at him standing there. He has a sassy personality. He has an attitude to him, which I could see is appealing to people.
Right.
Because he projects confidence.
Yeah.
Which is, people appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's easy to look at.
Right. Yeah. So that's what got me. It was
He's dark.
Other things.
Yearbook photo. So what did he do? How did he do this? Hold MLK Jr.'s father hostage in the world.
He was enthralled with the MLK Jr. killing. He went to go see the body and all this stuff, and he got basically frustrated that there wasn't enough being done for blacks at the school, not being represented, because I know Spelman is funded from what Spelman College is called across the street. It's a female school.
Oh, Spelman is the female one, and Morehouse is the black.
Right.
And they're all is the black male.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Rockefellers funded Spelman, and I think they were involved with Morehouse also. So
rich family, right?
Yeah. So he was upset with the board, pretty much. MLK Sr. he was probably one of 3 or so blacks on the board of trustees, and so he was upset about that. Him and a group of protesters, or whatever you want to call them, went into, and he knew what was going to happen. He knew that as soon as they locked the doors to that boardroom, that they would get charged with whatever it is, kidnapping,
false imprisonment, type
all
of
that
things.
Stuff. Yeah.
Wow. Look at him all short haired. Dang.
Cut.
Look at that suit. Nice plaid suit. Man, he's young looking there.
Right.
So he was in a group of who did this, or was he like the ringleader?
It doesn't say that he was a ringleader. He didn't say he was a ringleader.
Yeah.
But
and so this is the 60s after the killing, after the assassination.
Yeah, it was afterwards. This was in summertime, I think, of '69. I seen April of '69, but then I seen summer of '69.
Okay.
So I don't know exactly. I can't find a date. He didn't say a specific date. But yeah, they him in a group. They went in, and also they actually let Martin Luther King Sr. out because he had a chest pain, maybe
really?
a panic attack or something.
Uh-huh.
They didn't open the doors. And allegedly, they put him on a ladder and let him out one of the windows of the building.
Oh, whoa!
So they did let him go
On purpose?
Yeah, I guess
Willingly?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. And then they held more than just MLK
Yeah.
Senior then.
No, it was more. There were definitely more than that. It doesn't say a number of the board, how many board members there were. It was specifically a board of trustees that they went in to
How are those
harass.
guys going to do anything about MLK getting killed? College students are so stupid, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're all activists and caring about these things that have nothing to do with them.
Right.
And making other people's lives miserable who has nothing to do with the situation that they're griping about.
Yeah.
And blocking traffic, kidnapping people allegedly, or locking them in where they're...
Yeah.
What a pain.
Yeah. It's ridiculous how that younger, when they're young like that, the kids, they do some amazing, crazy things.
I've done a lot of stupid stuff.
Right.
I haven't been like that, but I do understand the insanity.
Yeah.
The dumb stuff that you do, all self-righteous, thinking that you're about something.
Yeah, because now you're an adult.
Yeah.
You think, you have it.
Uh-huh.
You have everything. You have the world set. You know what's going on. Yeah. And that's why I say he wasn't acting. He's not acting anything because he did all this out of anger. Even, afterwards when he, because, so I'll go back to what was in that afterwards, everything, during, they said that they negotiated with whoever, the school or whatnot, that they wouldn't charge him with anything or be anything. Once it was over, they did expel him, Samuel L. Jackson, along with the other kids there as well. So, right, yeah, the young adults there, and so he started to get into the Black Panther thing.
Yeah. Samuel L. Jackson did.
Yeah.
Was he always Samuel L. Jackson?
I don't know if that was the case or not.
At least he didn't get like a black name.
Right. He never did that.
Yeah. He knows how to work with the whites, or at least the so-called whites, the fellow whites, to stay palatable enough.
Enough, right, yeah.
To reach a broad audience and get along with people.
He scares them probably.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, he knows.
But underneath it, you can...
Yeah.
That anger is there, huh?
Yeah, yeah. So another thing was that he came back to, I guess, Atlanta. I guess he went back to Atlanta, and his mom was in talks with the FBI because he was involved with the Black Panthers or whatnot, and they threatened his mother that they were going to kill him, Samuel L. Jackson.
The feds?
Yeah. Maybe it's not true. Maybe
right.
That's what according to him. Yeah, that they were going to kill him. So, allegedly, she drove him to the airport and didn't tell him that she was taking him to the airport. This is what mamas do. Hey, they took him to the airport, didn't tell him, gave him a ticket, said, "Don't you come back. They want to kill you."
Whoa.
So between that.
Where is Morehouse?
Morehouse is in Atlanta.
Okay.
And let's see, did he go back? I think he was that's where he went back. Yeah. So this is she said, "Do not come back to Atlanta." The FBI had been to the house and told her that if I didn't get out of Atlanta, this is from Samuel L. Jackson, there was a good possibility I'd be dead within a year. She freaked out. So that's when she drove him to the airport.
For some reason, I know that the feds are evil, but I doubt that the feds threatened her. Maybe they were talking about how hairy it is because activists hate one another, and there's a lot of... And they also attract a lot of hate. They're expressing hate, and they're attracting hate. That's how MLK got killed. Right. Because he was pushing hate, and a hater killed him, allegedly, according to the reports.
Right.
Well, dude, you can't be a lover.
Right.
Loving person.
Right. Wouldn't do that at all. Yeah. No matter what.
Yeah.
So he came to LA, and He worked in like social services type things. And then came
Blacks.
back.
Social services. Come on. Be a man.
And then I guess in 71, the beginning of 71, they allowed him to re-enroll back at Morehouse. And that was it from there. Then he got into drama.
Okay.
He switched his major, I guess he switched it to drama and did the thespian thing.
Thespian. What's a thespian? I recognize that word.
Like, in the field of acting, like that's what you do. You act. You went to school for that.
So he got his start later then, because you're talking about 69, and he was a college student, maybe in his teens, 20s.
Yeah.
I would guess. I would assume. I don't know when he was born.
Yeah, I think in the late 40s.
Oh, really? He's about JLP's age, huh?
I think so. Yeah.
And Django was amazing, says Hassan. Was he in Django?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was the guy who JLP people call JLP, that guy, that character who's like all loyal to his master.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And that was an angry, vicious anti-black who loves whites role.
Right.
His first role was a drug addict, says Hassan.
Oh,
and 3 months prior to that, he was a real drug addict. Whoa.
Thanks, Hassan, for the extras.
Wait, Jungle Fever. Was he in Jungle Fever?
Yeah.
Yeah, fun fact. Jungle Fever is...
It's a movie where a black with a white. A black man and a white woman?
Spike Lee directed,
yeah.
Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes was the...
It is like the main
character?
character.
Wesley Snipes. I'm glaring at these people because they're promoting interracial.
Well, Spike Lee...
Taking our white women.
Spike Lee promoted a lot of... but, yeah, fun fact, the first movie he appears in is Jungle Fever, and, if I'm not mistaken, Halle Berry.
Wow.
That's her first appearance, and they're both drug addicts. They're boyfriend and girlfriend,
Whoa.
drug addicts living on the street in the film.
So they're promoting same race for blacks, you're going to be a drug addict, and then interracial, you'll be a successful movie star. Jungle Fever. I never even saw that movie or saw anything about it.
Yeah.
But I shook one like Filipino friend's hand in like 7th or 8th grade, and he said, "Look, Jungle Fever," because I didn't get it. But then he told me because he's like so dark, and I was white.
Oh, okay. Like he was brown.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never.
It wasn't anything romantic.
Watched it in whole. I've watched bits and pieces. I didn't care for it really, but I've never watched it in whole. So I know who's in it, things like that. But
it's a great film.
Yeah.
Spike Lee is, he's pretty talented.
Yeah, and spoiler alert, he gets his father shoots him dead.
Oh, gave him the Marvin Gaye act.
He shoots Samuel Jackson.
Wow.
Because he can't.
That drug addict.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
he
he's
can't
Wesley
what?
Snipes' brother.
Okay.
Who's the main character, who's doing the Jungle Fever stuff.
Right.
Jungle Fever.
But it's interesting that they both started in those small roles of playing this drug addict, homeless person, and they both went on to become, like now Samuel L. Jackson's like the highest grossing, and Halle Berry was too.
Right.
And so
bigger than life almost. Yeah.
And that was like their first role.
Breakout, or not even breakout.
And in an interview, if I'm not mistaken, he said that prior to that, the reason why he was able to do it so well is because he was dealing with drugs and alcohol and stuff like that just a few months prior.
Oh,
and
so
he was
knew
telling
that.
Spike Lee, like,
gotcha.
So he was playing himself.
Right.
Yeah, to Bigg Bump's point.
Telling you.
Yeah. He's 75 years old.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Halle Berry's 57.
She's a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never, and you know what? The first film I ever recognized Samuel L. Jackson in was Coming to America. That's what I was like. Oh.
He was in that movie? Because I did watch that one eventually.
Yeah. He
Coming
robbed
to
the McDowell's, the restaurant.
Oh,
he
he
tried
robbed
to rob it.
Okay.
Yeah, he got beat up. Yeah. That was the first time I remember back then, and that was so key to me. That I liked it because I just liked the movie so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was angry. The angry homeless, whatever he was, came in with a shotgun, and Eddie Murphy beat him up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And
Right on, Eddie Murphy. No, I'm playing around. Well, we wish him well. What
Yeah.
a mess. Don't hate him. I'm talking to myself.
Yeah.
You know, we're coming close to the top of the hour here. I want to read a few super chats before we get on. Before we get to the break song and your calls, guys, you can call in 1-888-775-3773. And then I want to get to the whites, if we can.
Yeah.
Big
for
Bump.
sure. Yeah.
So over on buymeacoffee.com/the Hake Report, Carver says, "Hey Hake, a little concerned about the highly suspicious death of Marco Troper, son of Susan Wojcicki.
Wojcicki. Go ahead and say it.
Okay.
You can disavow later.
Specifically, you admitting to being at the scene of the crime over the weekend, over the holidays. Repeated YouTube strikes and demonetization. Maybe you had a grudge to settle with Susan Wojcicki. Sounds like motive. Now today, doing a story on it, flaunting the dead and getting away with it in front of everyone is textbook. Jumped pretty quick to knowing the cause of death before walking it back." He says, "It's a concept album." It's a concept. You guys seen that concept album thing where you admit to a murder, all the details, and you just say it's a concept album?
No, I've never even seen
It's
that.
a Key and Peele episode.
Is
It's a Key
it?
and
Oh,
Peele
okay.
skit.
All right. I never watched them, so
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All
They're
right.
kind of hard to watch sometimes. Sure, no evidence of foul play has been found, but that's what they said about the 2020 shenanigans. No court has found any evidence of blah, blah, blah. And they probably don't want to tip the suspect off that they are on his trail. They always do that. Indeed. Thank you, Carver, for the contribution to the Susan Wojcicki story. Rest in peace, Marco Troper. What a mess.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a tough. It's weird. It is. But
That's
it's
the
typical.
world. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the people.
It. Typical. Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's how
Yeah.
the world is.
Evil is real, bought a coffee. Mendacity Monday is early for Wacky Woman Wednesday. Kathy Hochul, the New York governor, about the Trump case. Oh, this is ego is real, not evil is real. Different person. I think this is a really extraordinary, unusual circumstance that the law-abiding and rule-following New Yorkers, who are business people, have nothing to worry about because they're very different from Donald Trump and his behavior. 14th Amendment, again, this violates the Equal Protection Clause. Banks should class action sue New York for failing to enforce the law on business loans that lost money. Easy damage calculation, but it's dumber than that. Banks should sue New York for not enforcing the law on business loans that did not lose money. Good luck determining damages for that. And Goron already ruled that banks performing due diligence is irrelevant. What a mess. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, and we're going to get to that. Bigg Bump has that coming up for you, the Trump thing. Not a victim bought a coffee last week. On a scale of 1 to 10, how evil is doxing if you don't mind? No answer is also an answer. If you're being doxed and you don't mind being doxed, I think it's still evil, but not necessarily. I don't know if it's evil. If you don't mind being doxxed, if the host of the show minds people being doxxed and the person doesn't mind, then it is still evil. For example, on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, there was this dumb caller who doxed his whole name and something else. And JLP's like, don't say that. And then he said it again. And he's pretending like he's this respectful man. So that's evil. Depends on the situation, not a victim. Do you have any comment on doxing?
I don't know. I just wouldn't dox myself.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. How do I?
Yeah, and then respect other people's.
Yeah.
Because it's an evil world full of
People
evil
use-
people,
yeah.
and that
Oh, yeah.
is,
Yeah.
who are vicious and try to get people fired and try to scare and intimidate people. And the government is after the whites and the conservatives, the independent thinkers.
Yeah.
And we've seen case after case of that. They're not actually about justice.
Right.
So,
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
In fact, the feds doxed a whole bunch of January 6ers just to get them. And they didn't even, most of them didn't even do anything that serious.
Right. Yeah.
What a mess. This one is interesting. I have to get to this one. Popcorn Thump Keg bought a coffee. If Trump took the stand in any of his cases and answered his line of questioning the way Fani did, Fani Willis, you would be saying, right on, Trump. But when she does it, oh, what a witch. She's being disrespectful. She's black and a woman, so she already has 2 strikes, according to you, Hake. So she has to be dang near perfect for anything she says to be seen as acceptable. If she's, quote, rude, it's par for the course. If she speaks politely, she's being phony. No-win situation. Do you have anger? That's Popcorn Thump Cake. Isn't that an interesting chat? Illustrative, I call it.
To me, I see she went into it that way. She went into it with the attitude anyway.
Fani Willis is, if you don't know, she's the DA, right, from Atlanta, Fulton County.
Right.
She's going after Trump for election interference or something like that.
Yeah.
And then she got caught because she's girlfriends or boyfriends with one of her fellow prosecutors.
Yeah.
And was she boyfriends with him before she hired him or after? If it's before, then it's inappropriate. If it's after, it's still inappropriate, but it's less inappropriate, I guess. Or it's less suspicious. She's the same guy that put that thug away? Which thug?
Young Thug.
Oh, she put Young Thug away?
Yeah, where he's on trial
right
now.
So she's going after Trump and our young, old thug and young thug.
Right.
So this woman, I haven't played any clips of her, but I've had calls about her.
Yeah.
Called her a witch. This is one of my callers. And I saw the footage, and JLP called her, said that was black B-word attitude. And I saw some of the clip, because I saw it on the JLP short. Yeah, she's nasty. And you say, what? She went in and...
She went in that way.
She just waltzed right into the court proceeding, unscheduled, right? Something like that?
I think so, yeah. From what I read, it was something like that.
And was all sassy, bad attitude. I'm a woman. I'm equal with every man.
Right. Yeah, she says all that.
Do you get it? She's like all sarcastic. Did you hear me? And just like a nasty attitude, as if Trump ever talks like that.
Right, that's the thing. Trump would go in a totally different way. He wouldn't, try to storm in, and it would be concise and not nasty about it. It may sound nasty to people, but he would just say it, and that's what it is, and not, you're doing this, and it's, that has nothing to do, there's a total difference between, it's a what if Trump is
I know,
on there.
it's a big old if.
Yeah. But
you're living in your imagination.
Yeah.
Popcorn Thump Cake.
We've seen exactly what she would do.
Right.
And you see the character of Donald Trump. It's night and day.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trump is the light, and this woman is the darkness.
Yeah.
And spiritually, we're talking. Has nothing to do with white or black, man or woman. Because a woman can be decent and appropriate and tell the truth without being... And this woman did not seem to tell truth. She might have told some facts.
She was lawyering it up anyway.
Yeah.
She knows what to say. They both knew what to say anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
I noticed a lot of blacks are cheering how this woman acted on Twitter, on JLP's YouTube comments, right here in this coffee, pretending like she has 2 strikes against her because she's black and she's a woman. Not because blacks, and especially black women, are raised with this attitude.
Yeah.
They're encouraged to have this attitude, so they have it a lot. And so this blind person who bought me the coffee, and I appreciate the coffee, super chat, is one of my friends saw this. I mentioned this to one of my friends, and my friend said, so many blacks worship anger.
that's where it goes back to Samuel L. Jackson. They
Yeah.
like that anger, that anger in the character. And
Yeah.
they just relate to it more, and they love it. They love to be that way.
And in their anger, they're blind to the reality that Trump's spirit is totally different when he's defending himself from this gal's spirit, this lady. I'm using the term a little bit loosely. Mildly attractive.
At least Nathan Wade thought so.
Yeah. Yeah. Poor lady. And poor blacks. They're just blind. That's why you got to cut them slack. They're just, they don't realize.
Right.
They're just cut them slack, meaning not let it be okay that they're like this, but just don't look down on them for how blind they are.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was looking for the one Jesse said, the short that you said that he put up, and I put a reply, and I said that's the attitude template of what he said. For the sake of your channel, I respect it. I said the black B template.
Right.
And, there were some likes, but this one guy, some black, he had like a German flag, so I don't know if he was born German or whatnot. It's like, oh, this is what they say about your mother, your family, your females in your family.
Right.
I was like, I don't care.
Right.
Like,
They're probably right.
I said, that's the template.
Yeah.
So the ones that are, they are. The ones that aren't, they aren't. Who cares? I don't care. But yeah, they really, they like, that's par for the course. They like that. That's, and I read last night also, I was reading the comments for her that they were exactly that way. Oh yeah, she's this and she's that.
She's a queen.
Yeah.
Go off.
Go off, queen.
Was that on YouTube or IG that you replied there?
That was IG.
I think it might have gotten taken down.
It did because I'm looking for it. Clear.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. That's why I keep.
They don't like the truth over there on Meta.
I kept doing that the past minute or so, and I can't find it.
Terrible.
So, yeah, it's gone.
I have a few more super chats to read, but I'll have to put them till later. We're past the top of the hour. This is a Bigg Bump track, and I selected it.
That's cool with me.
2020 MAGA wrap up. We'll be right back, guys.
Nice.
Your calls, more stories. We'll talk about the whites. We'll talk about Trump, and more super chats. Hang tight for the rest of hour 2.
Well, it's obvious the Chinese virus was the biggest story. Then November 3rd became its own allegory. Criminals became the modern day saints. R.I.P. Charlie Daniels, David Dorn, and Herman Cain. Ricky Gervais roasted Hollywood like Soleimani. The Democrats challenging the economy. Suicidal like they kamikazes. NPCs, the Walking Dead, just a bunch of zombies. Donald Trump was acquitted. You had a conservative point of view on social media. Big tech censors. Is it Juicy Wallace or Brother Smiley? Let's be honest. Even Fox News found a way to lose its audience. Nancy Pelosi, still petty. Do as I say, not as I do. It can get real messy. Where is Hunter? I don't know. Maybe the Serengeti. If Joe got all those votes, but then I found Nessie. The stock market took a big tank. And who you call Dr. Fauci, I simply refer to as Snake. They anointed George Floyd as king. Antifa and BLM became a deadly tag team. Burn, loot, murder, 7 days out of the week. Watch, rinse, repeat, and don't try to gaslight me. I know the difference between a peaceful protest and riots in the street. But ain't no fun when the McCloskeys brought the heat. America is under attack. I didn't vote for Biden, so I guess I'm not black. You dying from COVID? Well, let's check the stats. The biggest gatekeepers, Zuckerberg and Jack. Cal Rittenhouse did nothing wrong, and it's as simple as that. But Breonna Taylor was a thug, and that's facts. The sports world took an absence of lead. Came back and every player started taking a knee. Sell out to Xi Jinping and the CCP. Can I get a round of applause for James O'Keefe, Michael Flynn, and Roger Stone? Whenever the problem, it's time Julian Assange and Snowden get a pardon. I march with the Blexit crew to back the blue in DC. Use some Whitmer Cuomo, it's just some control freaks. Mix that with Bill Gates, another deadly vaccine. Shout out to King Face, may his soul rest in peace. Didn't follow the mob, then you got canceled. Epstein didn't kill himself, and neither will Ghislaine Maxwell. The Dems lost a seat with RBG. Then Trump beat the Chinese virus. In a week salute to Lil Wayne, Pump, 50 Cent, and yeah, Swalwell was the one getting banged by Fang Bang. Kamala's just a $3 bill, that's real vague. Conservative hip hop down his lane, and that's on game. Enough with the charades and let's stop playing the game. Take the mask off, this ain't no masquerade. They care more for foreign soil, they care as actors and that. And to top it off, I just want my country back, yo.
Bigg Bump, B-I-G-G, B-U-M-P. 2020 MAGA wrap-up. Make America Great Again. Or MAGA. I call it MAGA.
I call it MAGA.
Yeah, it's not Soul Junk Sunday today. It is Bigg Bump Monday. Shout out to Bigg Bump. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Let's get to, before we get to back into the stories, I want to get to Mr. Pink from California on the line here. Mr. Pink, thanks for calling and holding there. You're live with Bigg Bump.
What's going on, Big Hank? What's going on, Bigg Bump?
Not much.
Not much. How's it going?
Good, man. I call Hake all the time, but I wanted to extend my appreciation to Bigg Bump. It's good hearing a black guy like yourself having some kind of decent perspective in the world.
Oh, much appreciated, man.
It's just refreshing, Like I don't ever, not very often I go, that's a decent rap song.
Oh, cool, man.
Nice.
Thanks.
Yeah, it has a nice vibe to it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, good beats and everything, of course, but it's when the message behind it is corrupted that I can't get behind it.
Yeah, that's typical.
And
True.
Has anybody ever told you, man, you got kind of a hypnotizing Ben Carson type of voice?
It's been said.
Okay, cool.
That's funny, man.
It's really funny because some of these people in the chat are like, Bigg Bump making me start in this news. You're real calm and in your demeanor, and that's cool.
Yeah.
We were talking about Sam Jackson and all his mess. That brings me back to, I look back and I'm like, okay, I used to think that guy was a good actor, but then you realize that every one of his memorable lines is him yelling.
Yeah.
Cussing. Saying MFing this, MFing that. I mean, that's how I remember him.
Like, Emperor Palpatine, you betrayed us.
Exactly.
That's funny.
Oh, man. That's funny. Yeah. It's like, it got me thinking about how, I was trying to be an actor growing up a lot. And I used to kind of falsely idolize some of these people because of their talents or whatever. But the more that you look into some of these folks and their ideologies and stuff, it makes it a little more difficult to, want to support their art.
Yeah.
Because if they're putting out all this stuff, it's like they're masquerading as funny or whatever. Sorry, I got to start going. They're masquerading as funny or deep or talented or whatever, but then they're supporting all kinds of woke nonsense and hating on whites and hating on men, as like we were talking about with Will Ferrell the other day. He was talking about, I want women to take over now. And it's like, what? Man, you're just making it hard for me to think you're funny anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's that kind of thing. It just blows my mind. And, they just brainwash us with the entertainment industry, and you don't really see what they're really all about. It's kind of like a facade they put out there.
Yeah.
Somebody was saying in the chat, you didn't like him in Django Unchained? And I'm like, well, if you realize it, he was just trying to portray white hate in a different way by acting like, he was the house Negro that was, worshiping the white folks, and he was the bad character, and that's Quentin Tarantino brainwashing right there.
Yeah. That's true, man.
So,
Quentin Tarantino is a simp. His dad's better than him, though. His dad's a Trump supporter, Arpaio supporter, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It was good to get that history about Sam Jackson, too, because I didn't really realize that about him, and now you kind of understand where all that comes from.
True. Mm-hmm. I wonder what his family life was like when he was a kid.
Mm-hmm. Anyways.
Interesting.
Well, just a general question, and I just want to ask is, I don't know, I mean, I'm sure it's been asked of him, but Bigg Bump, what's wrong with the blacks?
A lot these days, right?
Indeed.
I mean, yeah, I mean, well, you know, every group's got their own problems.
Yeah.
But I kind of go around and, you know, just out of general entertainment these days, I go watch police body cam videos on YouTube a lot. You know,
That's
just
a
to
lot
see
of
how people
entertainment.
are like really acting in these situations. And
Yeah.
it's crazy how like almost automatically, you know, no matter if the handcuffs are on them, whether they're standing, whether the cops are acting cool or irritated or not, it's just like an instant, get off of me.
Yep.
It's just an instant, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
like,
right
why are you
away.
saying I can't breathe automatically?
And and it's no wonder that the boy who cried wolf. It's no wonder they stopped listening to these people.
Yeah, and the police are not gonna, you know, respond in kind to that because they're like, oh, we hear that every single time. Even if we put handcuffs on your wrist, it doesn't mean we're not putting it on your windpipe, dude.
I know.
What is happening here? Like every single time, every single video is just like, as soon as like they start to arrest them, it's like, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Like, that shouldn't be just a trigger comment that you say now.
They bring it on themselves.
They're making a mockery of Eric Garner and George Floyd's death.
Yeah. Oh man.
Terrible. Man.
It's just crazy though. It's like every single time I watch one of these situations, you can see the progression of how it spirals into them getting arrested. It's like as soon as the cop arrives on the scene, it's like they already did something wrong, even if they were coming up to help or not.
Yeah.
And, you know, this happens to white folks too, but it's just predominantly that reaction happens like right away. The cops are like, hey, what's going on here? And they're just like, what? You're a racist. You're here to make me feel bad because I'm black.
They have their
like,
mother's
oh, man,
hatred
dude.
of the man, of the manly
Yeah.
authority that the
Authority.
police have.
Right.
Shout out
And, you
to
know,
the
it's
police.
true. That's true, Hake, because sometimes in them videos, I'll notice that, you know, they'll be yelling at the male cop, "Rah, rah, rah," and then the female cop will show up and be like, oh, well, you're trying to be nice to me.
Right.
I'll participate with you because you're trying to be nice to me. But that racist over there, he can't touch me.
Terrible.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Anyways.
Well, thank you, man.
Well, I don't want to take all the time, but y'all have a great day and keep up the good work.
Appreciate you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Pink. Take care. So let's get back into this big bump.
Mm-hmm.
The whites. What's happening to the white workers? Whites were known to be good workers, and now they're quiet quitting? What's quiet quitting? I read about this before, quiet quitting, in the
Right.
past, where you don't do as much. You stay at
yeah.
work, you stay on the so-called job, but you don't treat it with the love and appreciation. You don't treat it, it's like it's your business.
Right.
What
Right.
is quiet quitting in your words?
My view, quiet quitting is, just doing what's required and pushing back and getting away from what's, because there's something wrong, that you see something wrong and you want to push back from it, like giving up without standing up. You're not standing up at all. You're just giving up.
At your job.
Yeah, at your
In terms of
job.
doing your job.
And Sean also, he mentioned that he sees it in relationships. The
Oh,
quiet quitting
wow.
relationship. He just brought that up. I was like, that's a good point.
People
But-
just kind of like coasting,
Yeah.
going through the motions.
Yeah,
Their
yeah,
heart's not in it.
yeah.
They're not doing their best.
Right.
They're you say doing what's required, but I don't know. A lot of people. I don't know about my chat.
Uh-huh.
My chat is the snake pit. They maybe they do their jobs, but there's a lot of people who are doing stuff like watching videos or playing video
Oh,
games all
right.
day at
Right.
work,
At
quote
work,
unquote, at
right.
work.
Yeah.
Or perusing Reddit or something.
Right.
Twitter
yeah.
and
yeah.
stuff.
True.
And so they're not necessarily doing what's required. They're just doing what they can get away with looking busy, which is what
Yeah.
it does happen a
That
lot
does
among the Hispanics too, who are reputed to work so hard.
I was always one of the, man, they work so hard.
Right.
They're out there.
And then
Man.
you work with them. It's like some of them do.
Some do. You get the good old ones.
Yeah,
that
one
will do,
in
but
1 in 50, which is pretty good. Maybe it's one and a. I don't know. I knew a couple of. I knew one good one.
Yeah.
At my other job.
The other job, cabinet.
But even he was dishonest, resentful. If the guy didn't show him, if the boss didn't show him proper appreciation, he would get underhanded and evil.
Yeah.
So even him, even though he did like excellent, he really took pride in his work.
Mm-hmm.
He's a fine carpentry guy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, even he would quiet quit.
Yeah.
When he felt snubbed a little, like a woman. And so the whites are doing this?
Yeah. Yeah.
The headline, this is from American Greatness, amgreatness.com. White Americans are quiet quitting our leading institutions. So they're barely there.
Yeah.
Can America's institutions run as well in the 21st century if white Americans are quiet quitting them in despair? So white Americans are in despair. Well, they are committing suicide more. They're dying of fentanyl more, opioids more. It looks like we're about to find out. And this is by Jeremy Carl with a C. C-A-R-L. It's an article from the 22nd of January this year, 2024. What did you find out from this? Look at this white and standing in front of a bunch of cubicles. White
Getting ready
man.
to quiet quit. Yeah, he's done for the day. Yeah, so like I said, I seen this right after a couple days. It was a little over a week when the MLK Day, because it was not attached to this, but it was something somehow I came across it, wherever site initially, and I was like, oh man. And then when I noticed that the military.com was in here, I was like, okay, this is making sense. But
because military is one of the institutions.
yeah, right.
Okay.
It's one of the institutions.
And last time you were here, MLK Day.
Yeah.
Which was January 15th, I think.
Something like that. Yeah.
We talked about how the whites' enrollment in the military.
Yeah.
Maybe the Army specifically, but I think
Army
the military
specifically, right,
is in major decline.
Yeah.
Especially compared to their share of the population. It should be, because I guess military in general is kind of on decline, but especially among the whites.
Right.
And they've been pushing the, that's right, because they were pushing the SJW stuff, anti-racism, LGBT mess, feminism. And so pastors and leaders, especially down south, are not encouraging the children, the young men, to join as much. And the young men are probably not about it either, because a lot of Zoomers see through this mess, the evil of feminism and how destructive it is.
Right.
And they see that it's infiltrated our institutions.
Right.
So they're not joining.
Yeah. And that's the thing. They feel the whites that are quiet quitting that like their job has no meaning because they're allowing anyone in now, because they have to meet a quota. Affirmative action. And with that, then the people they're bringing in and that are pushing it, they're anti-white.
Right.
They're discriminating against the whites. They're doing this towards the whites. So I get why would you want to be around that?
True.
Yeah,
because you can't just single-handedly hold up a company necessarily.
Yeah.
Unless you're like a special type of person. What's the point of doing excellent work if it's just going to be undercut by all the SJW stuff.
Right.
Yeah. And everybody else around you is not excellent.
Right. Yeah. So
high standards.
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't want to be a part of that. You don't want to be in the front. You're the front guy or just involved with something that's declining.
Right.
You don't. You can take your skill set somewhere else. And, where it's really wanted, and get away from all that negativity, the hate, the constant. It's constant. It's just a constant hate, discrimination, and anti-racism. Which, it's that's it. Rhetoric, the anti-white rhetoric. That's the problem. And
it's more than just rhetoric. It's how you're treated. You're full blown.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are. You can see it. It's everywhere. As far as you see it online, in the open, in the public. I see it daily.
And one of the things about whites being white, or the things that are considered white, being on time, working together, cooperating, setting aside your disagreements and drama, and just doing the work, being civilized with one another, functioning and holding up your part, rather than being like, good enough, he'll do it.
He'll do it, huh? Yeah. That and no one with something about themselves even wants to be involved with that.
Yeah.
You know, but that, even that is too white.
Right.
You know,
you're being white.
You know,
I remember I remember hearing somebody say, doing well in school is seen as nerdy / white. And that culture affected me, how my outlook was towards school. Like, my siblings were like valedictorians and stuff, some of them.
Right.
And I was like, I don't want to be like them. They're nerdy. And all my other friends were like Hispanics, Asians, but not, they're like cool Asians. They're not nerdy Asians.
Right.
Some of them are smart. They were like copy off me smart. Like they knew once they saw my work, they're like, oh, that's how you do it.
Right.
Or they were dumber than that even. But so I didn't want to be like my siblings.
Yeah.
And so I didn't put my focus in school. Whereas, and that culture has infiltrated everybody, or a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
Americanized people, let's call it.
Yeah.
In a big way.
Right. Yeah.
And that's not the right attitude to have towards anything. You're supposed to do everything as well as you can.
Yeah. No, I've learned that, recent, that because I know in school myself, at one point I wasn't doing well at all.
Right.
But it just clicked. One day just so happened to click that, I can do this.
Yeah, same. That happened to me too.
Yeah.
In like chemistry, I remember.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I could do this.
Yeah,
so I just started doing it.
Yeah, I think it was some math class for me, and it was in 10th grade.
Yeah.
I was like, and I want to play sports. I think I need to.
You have to make the grade.
Yeah.
You don't want to be on, what's that word? What's that word when you're an athlete and it's not probation, it's some word.
I think I know the word you're trying to say.
Yeah, it's on the tip of my mind.
It'll probably come to me, but I can't even think of what word that is. I don't want to say disqualified, but and probation,
it's something
in that realm. Yeah.
Terrible. We're both like student athletes who back in the day.
Yeah. Another thing what you just said, because that's the thing. They say, you're acting white if you're doing good in school, but everything that, so I would say specifically the blacks, they talk about, education.
Right.
You have the education, but isn't it, you're white if you are doing it, or you're this and that if you are going about it that way, but education is the key that doesn't relate. I don't get that.
And education is not the key.
It's not the key.
It's not.
Right.
Because they're doing education through like communist brainwashing education.
Yeah.
And education is not why, like, you're supposed to do everything as unto the Lord, You're supposed to it's supposed to be like the God first, and your morality. That's first.
Yeah.
And honesty. But nowadays, the quote unquote good people in my class, the quote unquote good people were cheating. And there were a whole lot of my friends who were like almost as smart as me.
Right.
A lot of them did better grades than me and went to better schools and all that. We're almost not going to graduate because they almost got caught cheating.
Wow, really?
I'm talking Hispanics, the Hispanic gals, because the girls are the ones who take the school seriously, and then like Asians, men and young boys and girls.
Right.
They had no shame about cheating, and they're all about prestige. Why don't you go to a more prestigious school than Pasadena City College?
Right.
Because I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. I just wanted to run cross country.
Right.
So that's a shallow achievement mindset from that guy the guy who committed or overdosed allegedly.
Right.
Susan Wojcicki. Her son Troper, whatever his name is.
Troper. Yeah,
Marco Troper. OD'd on fentanyl or whatever. Maybe. We don't know.
Right. He overdosed.
But they were all about that worldly, shallow success, but they were still liberals, not Christians. And you don't even have to be a Christian, just like love what's right first.
Yeah. Right.
But the culture's declined.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It has.
The values.
Yeah. It's a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like there is like you were saying, is like a stigma with you said the PCC, just the
right,
and going to the 4-year, which it's smarter. I mean, why spend the $50,000 for 2 years
right
at
whoever, go to UCLA or somewhere
and spend maybe a quarter of that.
Yeah, it was like $12 a unit.
Yeah, it was. I remember it was 11 the first time I started going to PCC.
Yeah,
and I remember the 12 when it went up. It's like, what, 12? But and
now it's like 20, 30 probably.
It's wild. It is. Yeah,
it's out of control.
I want to say I think it's even closer to 30.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's something else. But yeah, why would you spend that money when you get the same exact schooling?
A whole lot of my teachers also taught at UCLA.
Yeah.
Or USC.
Yeah. I had, when I was there, I had a few that were.
And some of them were really good teachers.
Really good teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember one physics teacher I had. I really enjoyed that guy. And he just made it, he was funny with it, but he was on point with what he had to offer.
Yeah. And there was something else I was going to mention about PCC, Pasadena City. It's a community college, Pasadena City College.
Right.
Jesse Owens went there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The black runner who ran in front of Hitler,
and
I think.
Jackie Robinson.
Oh, hey, see?
Yeah, because he was born in the South, but he was from Pasadena.
Okay, yeah. Black excellence. Black that's what my first real exposure to blacks was visiting Pasadena, going to Pasadena City College, getting my stuff stolen. You don't leave a sweatshirt, even if it's a cheap Sam's Club sweatshirt, in your classroom. It's going to get stolen. A mess.
Yeah, a mess for real. Yeah.
That's another thing that has corrupted the institutions. This diversity stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because blacks were like the what's that one that Jesse likes? Up from slavery guy.
Booker T. Washington.
Yeah, Booker T. Washington had a school, and he demanded quality from his young men. Mm-hmm. Make yourself valuable, learn skills, work. And then they did this evil integration thing, and they're mixing low standard people, and it's just corrupting people because people don't have the strength to hold on to their values.
Yeah.
Terrible.
It is. And like the question, what is the question that he says? That we'll see.
Oh, you will see what happens.
Yeah.
Let's see. Whites quiet quitting.
If white Americans are quiet quitting them in despair.
Can the institutions run as well in the 21st century?
Yeah.
If white Americans are quiet quitting them in despair, we're about to find out.
We're about to find out, right? Yeah, we're about to find out. Because it's it's bad enough that you have to deal with that outside, but then you have the outside coming in, getting rid of the prestige of the institution and the prestige of and it makes it automatically just makes it the standards are so low.
Yeah. They've cheapened everything.
Everything, man. Yeah. Like I said before with the Caltech story that I brought in with the calculus, I think that's what it was, that they were getting rid of calculus for the
calculus requirement.
Yeah, the requirement
to get into Caltech.
That doesn't help.
Right.
That does not
just because
help.
it like you might miss some qualified blacks who went to schools where not enough blacks were qualified to take calculus.
Yeah.
So you're gonna miss those. So let's drop this requirement.
It's the crazy.
Feeling sorry for people.
Right. Yeah. And that's what even in the article it says there's a level of prestige in parts of conservative America and service that has degraded.
Yeah. That's totally true.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at all the planes that are.
Yeah.
I don't have any statistics, right? And you can say, yeah, I know we can't see our faces on IG 5%er, because we're like split screen right now.
Don't like it.
And so it's just showing the center. I don't know. I don't have the statistics, but it seems like the quality is degrading of like everything.
Yeah.
And the quantity is degrading of everything.
Mm-hmm.
We have a messed up economy, low standards, liberals running stuff.
Yeah.
And all this diversity stuff, all these false values being pushed down our throats.
Right.
And nobody really, a whole lot of people don't put their best into their
Right.
work
Yeah.
and do things right.
Right. Yeah.
Because everybody's like, oh, somebody else will fix it. Or, oh,
Right.
good enough.
Uh-huh.
Or, these bolts don't need to be that tight.
Let me be torqued. You just said something I was going to say. Go ahead. Now
The
I'll
airplanes?
remember it. Yeah, it was something about the airplanes that it slipped me as soon as you made me laugh.
Okay.
It slipped my mind.
My bag.
Yeah. No. I can't even think of it.
Before we move on, then,
Okay.
let me get to a couple of super chats here.
Planned obsolescence. It's bad enough we had to deal with that.
Yeah.
Now we have to deal with, like I said, outside the anti
Right.
wokeness, all that coming in to even make that standard even lower than that.
Right.
You know.
Planned obsolescence means you make your certain parts out of plastic or something,
Right.
so that it'll break down, so that you have to buy another thing, and so the companies scheme to do this, so that their stuff doesn't last. So you have to keep on buying from them, otherwise they won't have your business anymore because they made such a quality product
Right.
that you have it your whole life.
Right. Yeah.
What a mess.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And now you
That's-
bring in this. Yeah. Yeah. It.
Terrible. Popcorn's Thump Cake bought a coffee. I'm a little confused on what you and Bigg Bump's 2 G's in Big Popcorn's Thump Cake stance is on education. If black children are doing poorly in school, it's par for the course. But if they excel in school, it's not a positive thing. Should kids be striving to study hard and make A's, or just be content with skirting by? Bigg Bump, do you want your kids to make A's, or would you be okay with school with C's? Why? Jesse touts that his aunt and uncles all went to college and made something of themselves. So that sounds like education is positive. Well, I know my answer. I'll give my answer real quick.
Okay.
It's not the answer. Education is not key. Character is key, and from that, you can get education, you can work and get a job, you can build your own business and do whatever you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Have morality. God is first, and then family, and from that, then you can get your education.
Right.
I mean, if you don't have God or you don't have family, then yes, of course, still do the education, but that's not key.
Right.
Blacks' problem is not a lack of education; it's anger, blindness.
Agreed.
Go ahead.
Agreed. I agree with that. I agree with that totally. The education thing, that's just like with Jesse, how Jesse phrases it, is the tool. You know, you just use it to,
Exactly.
to find what you want to do to make money to survive
Yep.
in life. That's all.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a big, even if you weren't educated, you can find work because, you know, you'll be able to work with your hands. If, you know, you can find a skill. You don't have to be educated to find a skill. So
Yeah.
that really, education really doesn't really matter.
And you're still getting an education by working.
Yeah.
We're using the word educated in place of college or
Yeah.
school or university or whatever.
Right.
But you get more of a real education from living and working
Yeah.
and doing right, being right.
Because that's what matters anyway.
Yeah.
You know, doing right, being right, and, you know, affording yourself what you need.
Yep.
You know, in that order, God, you know, your family, and then what you need
Yeah.
to do to survive.
C on C bought a coffee. Bigg Bump from degenerate music rapper females whose fan is you, who you think is talented. This is a little bit, this seems like bad English, but did you follow what she said?
I did, but I don't want to assume that I got it, what she thought. When who called? That was Mr. Paul?
Mr. Pink.
Mr. Pink.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Pink, my fault. That he said something about who he liked. I was like growing up, I really liked Tupac's music. That's who I looked up to, identify with, and that just went away. You know, it's rare I even listen to music just in general, but I don't even listen to him at all.
Right.
You know, so
I liked a lot of his stuff too.
yeah, I really enjoyed it. Really. I really enjoyed it. But looking in between things, and then if I hear things, it's funny how I see some things different. You know, I listen to it, I'm like, oh, I got what he said, or oh, he made a point there.
Yeah.
Because there were things, you know,
Right.
he was saying that.
Good quality points that he was making.
About the fathers being around, or it's not them that's killing us, it's us that's killing us. You know, he had points, but he was just all over the place with other things.
True.
So yeah, and then now there's some people I listen to or I wouldn't have listened to years ago.
Yeah.
I won't name drop anyone specifically just because I said Tupac because he's known.
Yeah.
But I just enjoyed a total different type of music. If I listen to, I just enjoy listening to it.
Yeah.
And it's not, some may play on the radio, but it's not played on the radio like that.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Any female rappers? She mentioned female rappers.
There's one that I really like that Hassan actually knows. She's from Detroit. Her name is, if you don't mind, her name is Dej Loaf. I really like her music.
Okay.
I mean, she can be she may have a style here and there that, you know, I really don't care for, or, you know, the lifestyle, but I really, really like her music.
Nice.
That as far as a black
rapper,
a black rap female, I really like her music.
Okay.
Yeah, she's musical to me. Like, she has a little something more than talking about the mainstream. And she's not mainstream like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right on, man. One last quick one. Popcorn, Stump Keg, bought a coffee. So Bigg Bump, if your kids get C's in school, would you be okay with that? Encourage them to be better, or encourage them to be better? Why?
Well, I only have 2 kids. One just graduated. She did decent. You know, it was above or a B average, if not in a low A.
Yeah.
And she'll be doing school, or it's paid for, so we're not coming out of pocket.
Nice.
And then I have a little one, so she'll be homeschooled.
Nice.
And I really don't care about the grades. Whatever.
True. Also, if your child got into an Ivy League college, should the assumption be that they got in because the standards were lowered?
It probably would be lower. I mean, the standards would be lower because I would just assume that off the top. I don't care, but that's what they're going to do. That's why she would get in.
That's why we shouldn't have that.
Yeah. And another thing with that is
affirmative action we're talking about.
Yeah, right. When my daughter was saying, "Oh, such and such got to this school or that school, or they were accepted, and this school has an acceptance rate of this or that," the schools want you to come. It's not like they don't want your money. They want your money also, you know. But on top of that, they do have to meet the quotas, the affirmative action type things again.
Yep.
So,
and they have to kiss up, kiss the ring,
bow down.
Let's get to a call before we get to Trump. I don't know if we're going to be able to get to Trump because we have to be done, and I have to close out at 10 till. Ronnie in Ohio is on the line. Ronnie, you're live with Bigg Bump. Thanks for calling and holding.
Hey, Bigg Bump, what's going on? How y'all doing?
Well,
doing fine, thank you.
Yeah, I know I know y'all running out of time, so I'll get right to it. Bigg Bump, he played that song during the break.
Yeah.
And I heard a bar that you had, and it was, and I don't want to mess it up, so you might have to fix it. But you said Kyle Rittenhouse didn't do anything wrong. That's that. But Breonna Taylor was a real thug, and that's facts. You said something like that.
Something like that. I know exactly. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Can you kind of, I guess, elaborate on those bars? I know sometimes 16 ain't enough, and it's hard to really explain what you're saying in each bar. But what do you mean by Kyle Rittenhouse didn't do anything wrong and that Breonna Taylor was a thug?
Kyle Rittenhouse was being attacked. If we're going off the killings, the self-defense thing, that was self-defense. He was being attacked, and he had a weapon. He had the right to defend himself.
And then Breonna Taylor.
She was involved in all the shenanigans with her boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend, the drug dealing, the body in the car,
A rental
the rental
car,
car.
huh? That's under her name, huh?
Yeah. And she was involved with the drug game, thug.
Makes sense, Ronnie? You follow that?
I follow it. I won't go over the cliff with it, but I follow it.
Oh, you won't go over the cliff, meaning you don't agree with it.
I think what he said was kind of overboard. I will say it was overboard.
What was
To
overboard?
say that Kyle Rittenhouse didn't do anything wrong.
What did he?
I'm
You think he did something wrong?
No. And then on Breonna Taylor's side, when she died, she didn't have a criminal record. So it's hard to say. It's hard to give that thug label to somebody without a record.
All thugs don't have criminal records.
I know a lot of thugs that don't have criminal records.
Yeah, you get a lot. You get away with a lot of crime.
So we can say that even though Kyle Rittenhouse doesn't have a criminal record, he could still be categorized as a thug, right?
If he had done wrong stuff, yeah. What did he do wrong, do you think? In short, because I got to keep it moving. But I don't. But I like this call.
Absolutely, yes. So if somebody who doesn't like Trump goes to a Trump rally and then is knowing that, to antagonize Trump, not to view it, not to just be in there and see what the thing is like.
Yeah.
If they're going there with the intent of saying like, hey, you guys are my opposition, and then they feel threatened for their lives and they start shooting people, is that self-defense? Or will we say that maybe they should have just stayed home?
In that case, they should have stayed home because they shouldn't be antagonizing. You think that Kyle Rittenhouse went there to antagonize or to protect businesses? After a day of rioting.
I think he should have just stayed home.
But did he go to antagonize or to protect businesses?
He went armed.
Did he go to antagonize or to protect businesses? Or neither?
I'm not about to discuss what his intent was. My point is he went somewhere where he knew there would be opposition. He knew that he knew that he was armed. Yeah. And that it might end up resulting in him taking some people's lives. So maybe he should have just stayed home.
No.
If this was I would have a different opinion if it was his front neighborhood or if it was right down the street from his school, but this wasn't even in the same state that he lived. So
you could say that, but it was his neighborhood.
I think he should have just
It was his neighborhood.
Just stay home.
It was his neighborhood, and he went to look out for the businesses after because there was already was there not a night of rioting already that happened, and then he came the second night of rioting to protect.
I think there was before.
That wasn't his neighborhood, and he wasn't.
It was his neighborhood though. You're mistaken about that. He worked there. He was not far, he did not live far from there. I think he worked in that neighborhood.
He worked there?
Yeah, and he went to clean up graffiti. He was like a do-gooder. You can argue, he shouldn't have gone, but
which is that's literally my only argument is that maybe he should have stayed home. So I'm saying.
But how about Antifa and Black Lives Matter? Should they have gone?
I'm not here to lump in Antifa and Black Lives Matter. Let's stay on written.
No. But I would like to know what you think. Should Antifa and Black Lives Matter have stayed home?
I don't think we got time for that. to talk about.
In short,
and
yes or
elaborate and Antifa and Black
in short,
Lives
yes or
Matter.
no. I want your opinion. Sincere opinion, yes or no. Should they have stayed home? Antifa, Black Lives Matter.
I think anybody that wants to go protest should do so unarmed. If they go protest and they know that their quote unquote opposition will be there.
No,
and they're
answer my
armed,
question, Ronnie.
I just answered it. I just
So
told
you said yes, they should go out there?
Anybody. I don't care what group they're in. If they're going to protest and exercise their First Amendment right, that's cool. But for you to feel like you should bear arms,
Your
around
Second
the
Amendment right?
opposition,
You shouldn't have your Second Amendment right with your First Amendment?
You can't have your Second Amendment
Now-
right. When
now
you're
they
at a
had
bar.
they had nothing to protest. They had nothing to
If you go to a bar
protest.
to sit down and drink, you're not allowed to carry your weapon into that bar. So
That's different from-
there are times.
That's different from being on the
Second
street
Amendment is
with
called for.
a violent riot on your hands, buddy.
They
were protesting.
Right. So don't go in the street where there's a violent riot because then you might kill somebody. So he did.
There's
something
nothing wrong with
wrong.
killing
That's my
somebody
whole
in
point.
self. There's nothing wrong with killing somebody if it's in self-defense. He was protecting
You shouldn't
businesses.
be
Those people had no business being
that's
there.
not a-
They were
They
were
did
riot.
have business being there.
No, they did not. They did not have any business
they
being there.
did.
No, they didn't, because
Yes,
there was
they
a
did.
the
Yes, they
cops
did.
rightfully shot a violent guy who was resisting arrest and getting a knife, and they shot him, and then
Regardless-
they protested over nothing.
People are allowed to protest even if
But
it's
it's
over
over nothing.
The Constitution doesn't.
And Kyle is allowed to exercise his Second Amendment in a protest zone to protect businesses. He was totally allowed to do that. But
I strongly disagree with that.
how is he not allowed to do it?
A home invasion is different. That's when the Second Amendment is called for. It's not called
No,
for when you
man.
cross state.
That's not right, Ronnie.
It's not called for when you cross state lines.
Now you're just
to go
repeating.
and
Now you're
protect
repeating
businesses.
nonsense. You're repeating
I'm not.
buzzwords.
I'm saying
Crossing
what he
state
should've
lines.
did.
What does that even
He
have to do
should've
with
just
anything?
stayed home.
You're repeating
should've
mainstream
just-
media misinformation, man.
Did he cross state lines?
He crossed state lines, but that has nothing to
then
do with
it's
anything.
Not misinformation.
No,
it's
it
not
is.
Misinformation.
It has nothing to do with anything. It is misinformation.
Is it a fact?
It's a fact, but it's irrelevant to the truth.
And it's not illegal to cross
It
state
may be
lines.
irrelevant
It's not illegal
you,
to
but
the
it's a
cross state
fact.
lines.
I don't usually tell people they're not allowed to state something that's factual. That's a little.
But it has
I don't
nothing
know
to
what
do
the
with
word is.
anything.
It's your show though, so I guess you can.
Yeah.
I guess what you say goes, and
You're blind.
and even if somebody says something that's factual, if it goes against your argument, you say you can't say that.
It has nothing to do with anything. It doesn't go
Well, the
against
First
my
Amendment
argument.
says
It's just
the
not an
First
argument.
Amendment says-
I got to run,
First
Ronnie in
Amendment says
Ohio. Last
Yep,
word,
have a
Big
good
Bump.
weekend.
Take care. Man.
Breonna Taylor was a thug. Kyle Rittenhouse didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, that's the bottom line.
That's it. Yeah.
Guys, I cannot get to you. William in California, Rick in Hampton, Virginia. Big Bump, we can't get to Trump.
It's all
Sorry,
good.
guys.
Trump is Trump.
We got Mary Rice Hopkins on the
Nice.
line. It's not running to win the prize, though.
It's all good.
This track is entitled A Dad Like You. Adios, America. Joel Friday TV coming up next. And we'll enjoy this for a few minutes here. Bye. I did not know Ronnie. Just fall for that.
He fell for it.
To pick me up when I skin my knees again.
Ronnie's a dad.
It went away when you said it's okay.
I think.
I think I heard him say it was also.
Yeah. Big Bump's a father.
Yeah.
Many can be a father, but not just anyone can be a dad. It takes someone like you to love me like you do. It takes a daddy, it takes a dad like you.
It's nice.
La 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 la. La 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 la. You listened to me when I went on and on. You only fell asleep one time. If I could choose, I would pick you. I'm so glad you're mine. So many can be a father, but not just anyone can be a dad.
I disagree with the wording,
There's only one
but it's nice.
Father who always walks and talks with me, and he's always there in my heart. He will never leave his holy me.
Joel Friday TV coming up next. Thanks again, Bigg Bump.
Thank you. I appreciate
Kept
you.
me
Yeah.
safe when what I did was wrong. You showed me the right way. With all that we've done, I see how far I've come, and I thank you for yesterday.
Nap time. This is Tim Scott.
Many can be a father, but not just anyone can be a dad. It takes someone like you to love me like you do. It takes a daddy. It takes a dad like you.
I gotta get out of Joel Friday TV's way.
So many can be a father, but not just anyone can be a dad. It takes someone like you to love me like you do. It takes a daddy. It takes a daddy. It takes a dad like you. La 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 la. A dad like you. La 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 la. A daddy like you. La 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 la. A dad like you. La 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 la.